Hello everybody and welcome back to the Brickazoid's Den. Alright, today is Amphibia, but I'm missing like 3 weeks. Basically what happened was, I did episode 1, and then episode 2 came out, and I wasn't able to record that one. Because I didn't have the stuff to record it. Then the third week, for episode 3, I woke up way too late, and then I didn't have time to record because I had to leave my house at like 8:30. And then I didn't go back until, for a while, I think. I don't know how long. But anyways, I didn't have any time to record on any of those weekends. So I'm just going to put those episodes in here as well. So I'm going to do 3 episodes in one video, because we also have this week to take care of as well. So this might be a bit of a long one for the Amphibia discussions, but hopefully this doesn't happen again. I really don't want it to. I like to keep up to date. I like to keep up with every episode weekly. Like, I have been watching the episodes weekly, I just haven't been able to make a video weekly, which is not something I really enjoy. I'd rather make a video weekly instead of just doing all of these together. But anyways, yeah, I guess we'll get going with it right now. I just want to get right into it. So we'll start with episode 2, season 3, episode 2, which is this is when we started to get back into like the or segment A and segment B of every episode. So it isn't just one long 23-minute episode. We have segment A and segment B. So for starting off with segment A, we have Hop Till You Drop. Basically, we start off with Anne waking up and opens the door to the house, breathing in the human earth air instead of the amphibia air. And she's about to walk out, and the planters grab her leg. They want to come with her to the mailbox because they're just so fascinated by the human world. They put on disguises so that they don't get seen as frogs, and when Anne walks out, the planters disappear. Polly is trying to talk to human children who almost run her over. She insults them, and then the kids then turn around as Anne comes and takes Polly away because she doesn't want Polly to get into a fight. And then Sprig gets dangerously interested in a wood chipper, which was not good. Anne saves him, and then Hop Pop is about to get scammed, and Anne saves him too. She brings them back in the house, and Anne gets a drink from the fridge and vents about the situation to her mom and dad. Anne gets a lesson about parenting, and she walks back into the living room where Sprig is getting close to a fan, dangerously close to a fan. Polly still wants to fight the kids outside, and Hop Hop is on the phone gonna get scammed again. Not great. Anne then decides to take the planters to the mall to learn Earth survival techniques. Each member of the planters has a task to complete, so Polly must learn to control her temper, and she must build a custom plushie without fighting anybody. Sprig keeps touching stuff, and Sprig must go through a gallery of art or something like that without touching any of it. And then Hop Pop needs to stop taking free stuff, so Hop Pop must go through the kiosk alley without being scammed. If they fail, they can't leave the house ever, which is not a good thing. So we start off with Polly. Polly collects parts for her plushie, and then a bunch of kids steal the parts for her plushie. And then we go to Sprig. Sprig wants to touch everything, but he has to hold back. It becomes difficult for him, and then he comes upon like this giant glowing thing, and he really wants to touch it. Hop Pop can't accept free stuff, and Hop Pop looks suspicious, and a mall cop sees him. Anne is then listening to a human who she knows about the latest gossip, so an old human friend from Earth. And while Anne looks away, Sprig touches the piece of art machine, whatever it was. It all falls apart, and Sprig holds on to the eye, which rolls around the mall. Polly makes a plushie, but the kids destroy it, and then Polly fights a bunch of kids, which is nice. Hop Pop finds a water fountain, jumps in, and starts collecting money in the water fountain, which is obviously not a good thing to do. Anne then needs to help Sprig, Anne needs to help Polly, and Hop Pop. Anne uses a trampoline to jump high and catch Sprig, while she grabs Polly, then disguises her so that the moms can't identify who she is. Because, of course, Polly is fighting the mother's children. Anyways, Anne points the moms in the direction of the mall cop, and the mall cop is bombarded with MIDs, moms in distress, which is pretty funny. They're able to escape the mall, and the planters accept that they basically failed their challenge. Anne says it's her fault, and the planters make fun of Anne for having trouble surviving Amphibia, just like they're having trouble surviving on Earth. So So that was basically it for Hop Till You Drop. I mean, it was a pretty relatively simple episode. It was just kind of, I mean, I think it was good because it kind of got the planters to learn how Earth is like. We got to see some Earth in the Amphibia style, which was really cool. So it's pretty nice. But now we're moving on to the next episode, or episode, segment B, which was really good. This was a good one. All right, for this episode, we have segment B of episode 2, Turning Point, which is back on Amphibia, which is cool. So some days earlier, it starts off with, and Sasha and Grime versus Andreas. The King Andreas happens, which is pretty cool. Marcy is stabbed. Sasha sees it from a distance. The portal was able to open, and Andreas now still has the box. General Yunan and Lady Olivia say that they're with King Andreas out of fear, but of course we are going to get a General Yunan and Lady Olivia episode about them trying to save Marcy, I think in November. I think the episode titles came out, and I believe that was one of them. So that'll be really exciting to see. Back on Amphibia once again. So Grime and Sasha are surrounded, and they decide to jump out the window. They fall, and Joe Sparrow catches them. Grime and Sasha escape, and King Andreas sends a bot to follow them. Sasha and Grime's army is completely captured, and Sasha and Grime go to Wartwood. They don't tell Wartwood the truth. They tell Wartwood that they are there to protect them. Sasha and Grime live in the planter's house now, which is kind of weird. It's a little weird. Grime rests in Hot Pop's bed, and then Sasha decides to sleep in the barn with Bessie the snail, who I think, did I talk about before? I think I may have talked about it in episode 1, but I'm like, where is Bessie? What even happened? So it's good to see that Bessie's all right. With also the little snail. I forget, what is the little snail called? I don't remember. Anyways, Grime made worm waffles, and Sasha is sad about tricking her friends, which, yeah. Sadie Croker made Grime and Sasha a pie, and Wally comes in to talk to Sasha about Anne. Maddie then offers Sasha bread, and she rejects the offer. Sasha runs back to the barn after being kind of, talked to by a bunch of Wartwood people about how great Anne is, and then Grime gets a letter from Beatrix. Sasha doesn't want to go, and a frog bot enters Wartwood. Grime and Sasha take it down, and it calls for help. Grime doesn't want to save the people of Wartwood, and Sasha does, so Sasha begins to care for Wartwood, that's why I think in our, in the Season 3 intro, we see, Sasha standing behind, or in front of all the people of Wartwood, she's growing a connection with them. So hopefully we get another Sasha and Grime and Wartwood episode at some point, just to kind of show how their relationship with Wartwood has grown, or the people of Wartwood has grown. Anyways, Grime leaves, and then Sasha explores Anne's room. She reads Anne's diary, which is a very sad scene, and Sasha decides that she wants to be someone better than who she's been. So Sasha explains that a robot army is coming to destroy Wartwood, and Sasha decides to tell the truth. A giant frog bot with smaller frog bot enters Wartwood, and then we have a Sasha versus the frog bots sequence. Sasha is held down, about to be killed, and then Grime comes back and saves Sasha. Sasha and Grime then versus the frog bots, so them together versus the frog bots. Wartwood joins in on the fight, because of course, they fought before, right? Didn't they fight in Season 1? Yeah, I think they did. They fought before. Anyways, Grime and Sasha versus the giant frog bot again, because they took care of the drones. There was heat-seeking missiles that this giant frog bot sends out, and then they lead the missiles into the giant frog bot, destroying it completely, and then Wartwood seems to accept Sasha a little bit more. Sasha and Grime prepare Wartwood to fight back against King Andreas, and that's kind of how the episode ends, which is pretty exciting. Now, I've been hearing this theory go around, is that Sasha might lose her eye, because I think it was the poster for Amphibia Season 3, or something like that, or the ending title screen or whatever, Sasha is on the side where every character has something weird going on with their eye. So, and she's the only one who has, regular eyes that aren't affected. Anyways, so the theory is Sasha's going to lose her eye at some point, which, I mean, it's not the worst theory, because she is stuck with, I don't know, who was on there? Grime, Sadie Croker, who else was it? What was the guy that I said back back here? Wally. He has, like, one eye that's closed. I don't know. A lot of the characters that she's on the side with have all, like, messed up eyes, so the theory is, will she lose her eye? Maybe. That'd be pretty cool. And I think, they're gonna do another Sasha and Wartwood episode. They gotta. There's so much that they can do with it. Anyways, we'll move on to the next episode. Alright, so moving on to Season 3, Episode 3. Starting off with Segment A, we got Thai Feud, play on Thai food, you know what I mean? Because they, of course, Anne's parents run a restaurant. So basically, we start off with Anne's mom is making breakfast. Polly and Hop Pop eat eggs, very civilized, in a civilized, earthly manner. And then Sprig eats them completely uncivilized, drinks a bottle of hot sauce, and burps flames. Which, that's great. You're going to burn the whole house down. Anyways, Anne's mom gets angry, and everyone wants Sprig to behave. Anne has to work at the restaurant, and Sprig decides to join. Ned, the number one customer, shows up to the restaurant that day, and Ned bought a food truck for the Boonchoys, but the Boonchoys don't want to get involved with the food truck. They'd rather have their restaurant only, because they don't want to share their special recipes with someone who's not a part of their family. Anyways, Ned is just parked outside the restaurant, which confuses customers. Let me get a scene to show that, which is pretty funny. Sprig wants to get rid of the food truck so he can prove that he can be family with the Boonchoys. He can be a part of the Boonchoy family. Sprig eats the food and then says that he is turning pink, which the customers take as a compliment, which I think is a good thing. So they want to turn pink, which, yeah. The Boonchoys drag Sprig back in after Sprig is getting yelled at by some people. Anne's mom yells at Anne, not Sprig, because Sprig is the guest, meaning that Anne has to take the blame, is responsible for the guest, so she takes the blame. Anyways, Sprig still doesn't listen, and Sprig gets Ned out of the food truck. Sprig sets out to destroy Ned's food truck. Anne stops Sprig. The food truck starts rolling away. Anne has driven a car, has never driven a car, but she tries this time. The brakes are completely broken. The food truck crashes through a bunch of stuff, and then Sprig helps Anne with a hard left turn. The food truck does tricks at a skate park, and it flips over and lands on the ground, destroying it. Sprig says sorry to Anne's mom, who also says sorry, and then Ned leaves. Ned gets to be a delivery guy now for the Thai restaurant, and then Ned drives away in the completely destroyed food truck, which I don't know how it's still working, but it is. Anne's mom yells at Sprig. Sprig is smiling because now he feels like family because he's getting yelled at by Sprig's mom. So that's basically where we end off with Thai Feud, whatever. Now we're on to Episode 3, which is Segment B, Adventures in Catsitting. So we open up the episode with Domino, the cat, doing a bunch of just weird stuff, just wacky day-to-day stuff. Anne is searching for the interdimensional portal information, but doesn't really find much. Hop Pop, Polly, and Sprig are pampered as guests. Hop Pop didn't realize that it has been a week since they've been on Earth, and Hop Pop thinks that him and the Planters are freeloaders like their cousin Stanley. We get like a flashback of cousin Stanley freeloading at the Planters' apartment and how they threw out cousin Stanley because he just stayed there. Anne's mom brings Anne to the dentist, so the Planters offer to take Domino to the vet. Polly jumps on top of Domino, and Domino attacks the Planters off screen, so it just kind of showed that it's tough to get Domino to listen a little bit. Anyways, Domino's in the cage, and the Planters go on to decide to take the bus. Hop Pop hits everybody with his giant tongue, and the Planters are then kicked off the bus. So that was very short-lived. The Planters go through multiple problems getting Domino to the vet, and then eventually the Planters ask about frog anatomy to the vet when they arrive. The vet gets kind of overwhelmed, and the Planters leave in a hurry. Domino escapes the cage and jumps out the window as they're going home. Domino isn't in the cage, and the Planters search for Domino. Polly finds a possum, which wasn't great, but Hop Pop throughout the episode tries to stop Sprig from calling Mr. Boonchoy because he wants to prove that he's not a freeloader, that he can help them. Mr. Boonchoy knows Domino will be at the nearest shawarma restaurant after Sprig ends up just calling him, and the Planters need to find the shawarma restaurant. Hop Pop makes an alarm noise which evicts everybody out of the restaurant, and then Polly makes herself look like a yarn ball to lure Domino outside. Mr. Boonchoy drives the Planters back home, and Hop Pop still thinks they're freeloaders. Mr. Boonchoy explains how they're not freeloaders because how they took in Anne in Amphibia. So, this is them kind of repaying, And then we go back to Anne, who comes back from the dentist, high on, what is the drug that they use at the dentist? Is it anesthesia? I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, that is basically where our episode ends. And I think for segment A and segment B, like the whole episode 3 in general, pretty simple stuff. It wasn't anything too crazy that happened, which, that's good. That's good. It's good to have just kind of like a more calm episode or set of episodes, because we had this one, which was the domino one, which, it was pretty simple, and then also the Thai Feud one, which, I don't know, it did stuff, but it didn't do a lot of stuff to benefit, like, the big story. So this is good that these were there just to kind of, I don't know, calm everything down, especially for what happens in next episode, because next episode gets crazy. Alright, finally, we've been moving right along through all of these, but we have Season 3, Episode 4, Fight at the Museum is segment A. We basically start off with everybody's asleep except for Anne, who's looking up portals to other worlds. Anne is called down for breakfast, and then the planters are watching the TV, and a tired Anne walks in, saying she researched how to get the planters home all night and all the other night, but it was unsuccessful still. Anne's mom makes a joke about Anne researching, because clearly, she wasn't the most invested child in schooling or in academy or whatever. Academics, I mean. What? God. I'm tired. I woke up early for this, so maybe that's why. Anyways, Anne thinks there could be a second Calamity box. The planters don't care. They would rather just watch their TV show. Anne's mom recommends the museum. And after that, they cut to a frog bot appearing on Earth. Anne and the planters arrive at the museum, and Anne and the planters then explore the museum. Anne researches throughout their museum trip, and Hop Pop tells her to stop because she's going to get burnt out. Anne sees a vase with Amphibia-related stuff on it, like the Calamity box, and also a frog character near it. Dr. Jan, the curator, shows up and says the frog on the vase may be a deity, which is interesting. And I made a little note here saying this museum curator, seems much better than the curator from the Owl House. Much more trustworthy, I would say. But Anne still doesn't trust Dr. Jan, so Dr. Jan leaves. Anne makes a reference to Gravity Falls by saying that what if you need to use a black light on the vase to see something secret? Of course, it has to be a direct reference to Gravity Falls. It's gotta be. Anyways, the Anne and the planters make a plan to rob the museum. Anne and the planters get different disguises for robbing the museum. Hop Pop distracts the guards by dressing up like a cat and stealing a guard's shoe. Polly goes through the vents to open the door from the inside out. And then Sprig takes out the security cameras, but while he's doing that, the camera feed is intercepted by the frog bot. And then the frog bot basically knows where the planters and Anne are. Anne keeps falling asleep, and then eventually when she wakes back up, the vase they see is guarded by lasers. Polly runs through the lasers and gets the vase. Just when they think, everything was good, that was a perfect heist, the frog bot bursts in. We have a cool fight between Anne and the planters versus the frog bot, and Anne cuts off the frog bot's arm using a guillotine from the museum. Anne then sword fights the frog bot, which leads the frog bot to a hanging dinosaur fossil which falls onto it, and then the frog bot gets out and grabs Anne in a chokehold. Dr. Jan and the guards show up, and the frog bot leaves because he can't be seen by other humans. Dr. Jan notices the planters are frogs, and Dr. Jan gets the guards to go away. Dr. Jan wants Anne to explain everything about the planters, basically, but she seems helpful. Like, she doesn't seem like she's going to backstab him or anything. Especially for next episode, I think it kind of solidified that she is going to be a help. Anyways, Dr. Jan brings Anne and the planters to her office and offers to research the vase as long as Anne goes to sleep and takes a nap or something. Anne does the black light reference again, and then we learn that Hop Pop is like a flat earther, which is kind of funny. He couldn't believe that the earth was round, which is interesting. Anyways, Dr. Jan tries the blacklight method, and it works, and that's kind of where the episode ends off, and which leads us into the next episode, or segment B of episode 4. Okay, final segment of season 3, episode 4, and probably the final segment of this video, I believe. Hopefully I don't have to push this back. Anyways, Temple Frogs, that's our segment B. Anne assembles the planters because she got a text from Dr. Jan about the vase. Anne and the Planters want to go to the museum, but Anne's mom says no because it is market day at the Thai temple. Anne just needs to stay for 1 hour and then she can leave. That's the deal that they made. School bloggers from behind the bushes try to get exclusive photos of Anne, the girl who went missing, which is it's pretty messed up. Like, a bunch of people are just looking for her now because she basically went missing in Amphibia, so now they can just make stories off of her, which is messed up. Anyways, Anne and her family and the Planters arrive at the Thai temple, and the Planters help set up the food stand. Anne is the sample server, and Anne is bombarded by the Ba train. And then the Planters are Anne allows the Planters to explore the Thai temple freely, but as long as they keep their disguises on. Polly comes across kids learning Thai language. Polly comes in and shows them her Thai language speaking skill because she watched all of Anne's mom's romance movies, Thai romance movies, so now she knows how to speak Thai fluently. Hop Pop comes across con dancing, I believe it's called, and Hop Pop shows them his dance move, which the con dancers are impressed by. Sprig comes across a game of kick volleyball. The ball is hit over to Sprig, and Sprig impressively kicks it, because of course he's a frog. Both teams want Sprig to join the game. Anne checks her phone and sees it's only been 10 minutes, and she can't wait the hour. She just can't. So Anne calls Dr. Jan, which is intercepted by the frog bot, and now the frog bot knows where Anne is. Anne makes a plan to get the Planters together and head to the museum without being spotted by her parents. Anne comes across Sprig, who seems to be good with the kick volleyball game, so she decides to leave him. She decides that she wants rather have Sprig have fun. Anne comes across Hop Pop, who also seems good because he's doing the con dancing, and she leaves him too. Anne comes across Polly, who seems like she's having a good time speaking Thai and, showing off, basically. Very Polly thing. Anyways, the Planters connect to the Thai culture pretty well. Anne leaves and bumps into Mrs. Boonchoy. Mrs. Boonchoy catches Anne trying to leave. Anne's mission is important, but Anne is important to the Thai community. Anne's mom has to deliver the dishes and Tupperware back to the Thai families because they took care of her in the months that Anne was gone, which is pretty messed up. Frogbot drones arrive after this, little heart-to-heart moment, and Anne makes an excuse that the drones are school blogger drones trying to get pictures of Anne. I don't know how they're so oblivious to. I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where eventually, maybe like when we get to a very climactic episode, I guess, we find out that like Anne's parents kind of like aren't oblivious to it, and they kind of know that there's something going on. Anne just hasn't told them yet. I think we might get to that point. I don't know. I don't think they can be oblivious to it, that these aren't school drones trying to take pictures of Anne. You know what I mean? Like, they're actually, like, Frogbot drones trying to kill everybody. Anyways, Frogbot drones arrive. Like I said, Anne makes an excuse that the drones are school blogger drones. One of the drones blasts at Anne after she tells Anne's mom to take cover. The Planters hear it and prepare to fight. Anne's mom and the Thai community also prepare to fight the drones because Anne is one of them, so they gotta stand together. So the Boonjoys, the Planters, and the whole Thai community have a fight against the Frogbot's drones. Anne's dad almost gets attacked by the frog drone, but Polly is able to save him quickly. The Planters' disguises fall off, but the Thai community seems to accept the Planters, which is nice. Everybody cleans up the damage, and Anne decides that she wants to stay at the temple for the day. But Dr. Jan shows up anyway. Dr. Jan uses the black light and shows the Planters and Anne. Anne uses Marcy's diary to read the unknown language, but they still have no connection to what they're actually reading. So that's kind of where the episode leaves off, but it leaves off as, it's basically a cliffhanger. There's so much that they can do with that, but yeah. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I gotta go in a couple minutes. That's why I'm trying to kind of speed this up a little bit. But, I'm really sorry about the 3-week miss for episodes. Hopefully, things will get better. Hopefully next week I'll be able to make a video on Amphibia for the final episode in the month of October, but then we also have November as well, which will continue the season as well, which I'm pretty excited about. Anyways, I'll keep making videos, Amphibia-related videos for every week, hopefully every week, like I said. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed that video, do the common YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.